Hey everybody, this is Chris with Overclockersclub. I got this cool new gaming desk from Ewin. You can check out a couple of the Ewin gaming chairs I've already reviewed. But I need to get this out of the box so we can start putting it together. So right now my studio is full, so I'm going to have to do this out on the main floor, which is no big deal. I got a lot more room to work out here. So there are all the goodies, and I need to get these out one by one and go through them and make sure everything looks good. Sometimes in shipping things can get banged up, but I don't see anywhere where that might be the case, so I think I'm good. This is what I've got, so it's really pretty straightforward from here. Just a single sheet of paper, and it kind of walks you through the steps. So I'll get this thing assembled. All right, well, when I pulled the plastic off here, I dumped all the hardware on the floor, so I'll definitely need to use the little bill of material here on the instruction sheet to make sure I have everything or I haven't lost anything. And another quick public service announcement: when you open these bags, be real careful, especially if you use a razor knife. You don't want to damage any of the surfaces before you even get the thing assembled. So it looks like when this bag hit the floor, it kind of dumped everything. So let's see, I got these brackets. It says 4 of those, so I'm good there. It's like several sizes of Allen wrenches. I can see I got the 4 leveling feet. We have some washers. Get these all separated here. And it looks to be pretty good. So we've got 4 of these. Okay, they go with that. So there's 4 and 4. Those are good. It's like one of those. Wrench, 4 feet. Big washer. Okay, looks like everything's pretty much here, so I can get started. And one more thing I should point out, this is actually an RGB gaming desk, so it has some cool RGB lighting effects, which we'll see once we get it all powered up. And while you're assembling it, it's a good idea to not tighten everything down, because some of the holes may not line up. So if you kind of leave things a little loose as you're putting it together, get the whole assembly together, and then tighten everything down after you know that everything fits. Alright, so I have the frame loosely assembled. I haven't tightened any of the fasteners down just yet. I want to make sure the top fits on there nicely before I lock everything down. It's pretty much a one-person job, although having a second person around would not be a bad idea. Alright, so I'm trying to get all the electrical connections figured out here, and the instructions are a little vague. But I guess it shows 1 connection on each side and 1 USB connection. So what you have here, there are actually 2 female sockets, and it doesn't really say which one to use, and maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe there are other gaming desks in this series that have different lighting functions or features, and you only need 1 for this one. So I plugged it into 1. If it's the wrong one, then we'll plug it into the other, but it probably doesn't matter. It's the same thing on the other side here. There are actually 2 female sockets, and I used 1 of them. So if it doesn't matter, then we'll see if I need to switch or not. Now the only thing that is really a little more confusing is there are two USB cable connections. One of them here is like an old USB 2.0. Again, we're not communicating with data here. This is really just to power the system. But the second one here has like the little blue insert, which is usually for like a USB 3.0. Again, I don't think we're really moving data here, but we'll see when we get the top on if there's something that that other connection for USB goes to. I'm sure once I get the top on here, I'll figure out what that other connector's for. Oh, I think I figured it out. Okay, that makes sense. You'll see here in a minute. Back. I think. All right, let's see if I got that right. So if this is the front of the table, and this is the side where your gaming chair would be. So here are your RGB controls over here. And I think I figured it out. Okay, so one of these USB connections goes to the actual top itself, and that's because your RGB lighting is here on the sides of the top. So now I'm going around and tightening up all of the brackets here at the corners one by one, but I realized this bar here in the middle, I'm taking it off and going to flip it around. I wasn't paying attention. There's actually an R sticker right there, and you notice there's an L right there. So I need to flip the bar around because the R needs to go up against the R. That's why the USB cable looked like it wasn't long enough. Well, it's because I had the bar in there the wrong way. So I'm going to take it out, flip it around, and put it in the right way. So make sure you pay attention to those little stickers. They're there for a reason. And I'm putting the finishing touches on here. I just added the cup holder. There's actually a threaded insert right here that you screw this bolt into. And there's one on either side, so you can mount it on the left hand or the right hand side if you like. Looking across the surface, it looks really nice. It has this simulated carbon fiber texture to it. And I can peel this little sticker off there. I haven't powered the USB lighting effects up there, the LED lighting effects just yet. But the legs here have a very nice, like a brushed stainless or a brushed aluminum finish. And I held a magnet up to them. They're too light to be steel, but the magnet here does not stick. So that tells me it's either stainless or aluminum. Stainless would be way too expensive, so that is most likely a nice brushed aluminum finish. But overall, I would say the build quality is pretty good. There was just one little place I had to draw down a little bit. The weld was off a little. Of course, when you weld things, when you heat them up, sometimes they warp a little on you, but it just took a little extra muscle to tighten the bolts to draw it down in there. Some of the styrofoam pieces are on there. But anyway, this looks to be a pretty nice desk. Okay, so here is the long cable that goes underneath here. And then this is the short cable that connects up to there. So I'm only connecting the long cable to the power source. And when I do that, this leg comes on. This leg comes on, but nothing on the desk. Same thing on both sides. There's nothing happening here. Now, when I hit the off button, it turns off. So I can turn it off and on. And I can change the functions. No problem. And this one here looks like it changes the speed. And then I tried swapping the two different sockets here. It didn't matter which one I plugged it into. I controlled the lights for this leg. And the same thing on this side. I tucked the cables up in here. But my guess is there's something going on with the controller up in here. Okay, I figured it out. At the front of the desk, there's a piece of tape that covers this little pocket, and tucked up in this pocket was another wire. And I connected it to the extra socket. There were two sockets. There's one here for the leg, and there's one here, I'm guessing, for the desktop. So now I just need to do the same thing on the other side. All right, so I got all the electrical connections figured out. I tilted it forward to make it easier to see the underside of the desk. Because you have this long cable here, this is the power cable that you would plug in to your PC or any 5-volt source there. So that USB cable there, the long one, goes to the power. There's a short cable that comes from the bottom of the desk that goes to the short cable that comes out from this bar right here. And what I was missing earlier, I didn't realize it, the two female sockets here, the reason there are two is because there's actually another connection up underneath this pocket, and there's some tape on it. So you have to pull this tape off to get to the connector. You pull it out of that pocket, and then you can connect it to the other female socket. And you do the same thing on the opposite side. Again, there's a little pocket up there at the front that's got some tape on it. I just sort of popped it open to get it out. So you end up with two connections. One goes to the legs, one goes to the strip on the side of the desktop. And they're all sourced from inside this bar here. So that's what I was missing earlier. It shows it in the instructions, but it wasn't clear to me. It is now that I see how it all goes. So let me get the desk straightened back up. All right, so I have the desk flipped back up into the normal position. I'm leaving it in the cardboard because I don't want to slide it around on the concrete and scratch up the bottom of the feet. So that's why I'm leaving it in the cardboard. Anyway, the pockets I was just talking about earlier, they're at the corners here. So there's one at the left front corner, one at the right front corner, and that's where that extra cable is to supply power to the strip along the edge of the desk. And the other cable, of course, supplies power here to the light strip that's in the leg. Now the surface here I really like, other than my fingerprints all over it. It has a very nice simulated carbon fiber surface, which is really nice. And then the control panel here, you hit the button here and it turns the lighting on and off. And then the next button here actually controls the features or the lighting effects. Actually, I'm going to turn the lights out here so this looks better. And I dim the lights down there. Now, one thing I've noticed, anytime I video LEDs, they seem to be a little washed out in the video. I'm not sure why that is, but they are always more vivid and more intense in person. So let me change the effects again here. So you can just go to a solid color that shifts between colors, sort of like a breathing effect almost. You can just stick with a solid color and you can switch between all the different solid colors there. And then there's the rainbow chase effect. So you can kind of see that. And then there's more of a primary color chase effect. And the third button over here actually is what changes your speed. So you can speed things up if you like. There's a rather intense effect. That's even more so. And then I can control the speed with the third button there. I can slow that down. And then there's sort of a stacking effect where the lights build up. And then you can reverse that so they go the opposite direction. And then we're back to our sort of a pulsing as we change colors. I can slow that down. And then we cycle back through the solid colors. And then back to the rainbow. So those are the RGB lighting effects. You've got a decent variety there. And it's the same on both sides. And along the front there's this nice Ewin skirt. And it's got a nice embroidered texture to it there. And it's sort of like a faux leather. All right, dimensions, it's about 47¼ wide, approximately. And then if we go this direction here, we're coming in about 26¾ And then height, let's see, we are about, that's roughly 29 inches. Now keep in mind the levelers on the bottom, there are little feet. You can adjust those a little bit. So what can complement a nice Ewin gaming chair? Well, that would be this nice RGB gaming desk from Ewin. I already reviewed the chair, so you can check out the link on that. Anyway, the desk, one of the things I noticed when I went to put my computer case under it is that cross member back there sort of limits the height of the case that you can put on the inside of the leg, which is kind of where I like my case. This case is about 21 inches tall and it wouldn't fit. So if you want to get your case all the way in against that corner, you're going to be limited to about a 19-inch tall case. And the optical qualities here, I also forgot to mention, of the surface also work well with the optical sensor on your gaming mouse. So if you want to run it directly on the surface there, that will work. The other thing is I took the banner off, that Ewin banner. Also, I had to remove it. You can see it's kind of empty back there. That's the only way I could get the case pushed in far enough. It kept hitting the bars on that banner, so I just removed that. So for me, that's what I had to do. But that's no big deal. Right now, this gaming desk retails for $399. I think that's a decent price for what you get. It's got the cool RGB lighting effects. The thing is built pretty solid. I didn't get any sense that the thing was cheap or loose or it was wobbling around. Nothing like that. So $399, again, a decent price. I would give this the Overclockers Club Gold Award. So this is Chris with Overclockers Club. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.